Okay, the chair lays out House Bill 2745 by Representative Capriglione. The chair also lays out House Bill 3093 by Chairman Guillen. And if there's no objection, the chair allows out a committee substitute to House Bill 3093.
You go for it.
The chair now recognizes Representative Capriglione to explain his bill.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members, thank you for the opportunity to address the committee. Today I'm here to speak to you about House Bill 2745 relating to frequency restrictions on charitable raffles. House Bill 2745 would eliminate a requirement that only allow for charitable raffles to take place twice a year. It would also eliminate the frequency restrictions on charitable raffles being put on by nonprofit wildlife conservation associations. The quick point of this is right now in nonprofits, like your chambers and your other civic associations, they're only allowed technically and legally to have charitable raffles twice a year. My bill would essentially remove that restriction so they could have raffles more than twice a year.
Okay.
If you have any questions, but it's as simple as that.
Members, at this time, before we go into questions for Representative Capriglione, Chairman Guillen, is there anything you'd like to add to explain your bill?
Yes. This bill 3093 amends the Occupations Code to raise the cap on real estate given to a charitable nonprofit for some consideration. Charitable raffles are a vital fundraising tool for nonprofit organizations. Texas allows only certain qualified nonprofit organizations to conduct raffles for fundraising purposes, including raffling real estate. There's no cap for real estate that is donated in its entirety for raffle purposes to the nonprofit organizations. But typically, a nonprofit organization will buy a home at a reduced price to be raffled. However, state law caps the value of a residential dwelling that may be raffled to $250,000. The dwelling was not 100% donated. House Bill 3093 raises that cap to $2 million for donated dream homes raffled by nonprofits. The bill will bring in additional money to nonprofit organizations, which has occurred in other states who've modernized their laws. There's a committee substitute for this one. Can you lay that out, please?
Sure. At this time, the chair lays out a committee substitute to House Bill, which one's yours, 3093.
And that's just a ledge council draft.
Okay. Very good. Members, are there any questions for Representative Capriglione or Chairman Guillen?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Representative Miller. Chairman Miller. Apologize.
Fine. Anyway, could either of you tell me there are some limits on the on alcoholic beverage code to these? Would this change those limits as to that number? I believe there's a limit of 2 in the alcoholic beverage code for this same thing. Does either of your bills propose to amend that?
No, my bill doesn't speak to that other section of code. This just speaks to nonprofits who are having raffles, the frequency with which they can have it. So it doesn't talk about the alcohol.
Okay.
And mine's only the occupations code.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, so are there any more questions for either the chairman or representative? Okay, there being no more questions, chair calls C.J. Grisham with Open Carry Texas, and speaking for Open Carry Texas and himself, for House Bill 2745. Mr. Grisham, please state your name and whom you represent for the record and your position on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board or committee, thank you for having this hearing. I'd also like to thank Mr. Capriglione. Did I say that right? Sorry for actually introducing this. I'm the president and founder of a nonprofit, Open Carry Texas. We are dedicated to more gun rights in the state of Texas, and one of the reasons why this bill is needed is there are times in a nonprofit where there's an urgent need for money, and especially at the end of the year. If you've already had your 2 raffles that are currently mandated by state law, one of the quickest ways to raise money is through these raffles. And so if we needed, for example, last year, we needed to buy a trailer, but we couldn't do a raffle to buy the trailer and pay for the wrap. And what we ended up doing was a crowdsource funding, since we couldn't do another raffle. But what this bill would allow us to do, and really any nonprofit, would be to hold a raffle when they particularly need that money, instead of, kind of hoping that when you do the 2 throughout the year, that you're doing it at the right times. So on behalf of Open Carry Texas and our 50,000 members, we wholeheartedly support this legislation. I, as a Texan, wholeheartedly support this legislation, and we ask that the committee pass it and send it to calendars.
Members, any questions for Mr. Grisham? There being none, thank you, Mr. Grisham.